All right, let's get into it. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework for understanding, well, everything. Think of it as a user manual for reality taken straight from a classic philosophical text.
I mean, seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. What if there was a guy that didn't just explain the how, but the why? Why we're even here, what happens when it's all over, and what the whole point of this crazy ride is?
So, where are we getting this manual? Well, we're cracking open a single powerful source, a foundational chapter where the 19th century French educator Allan Kardec lays out his entire system for how reality works. And here's our game plan, our roadmap for this whole thing. We're going to start with the biggest question of all: who or what are we? Then we'll look at the cosmic glue that connects us to our bodies. After that, we'll get a peek at the social scene in the afterlife, figure out the real reason we're on Earth, and finally, explore how we connect with the other side. All right, first things first. Before we can even begin to understand the manual, we need to know who the user is. And according to Kardec, we might have it completely backward. Okay, so check this out because this one little flip in perspective changes everything. Most of us think, I am a body and I have a soul. But the Spiritist view flips that script completely. It says, you are a spirit and you are just temporarily using a body. See the difference? It's huge. So if you're a spirit, what's a soul? Well, in this system, it's simple. A soul is just the term for a spirit that's currently incarnated, logged into what the Source cheekily calls a flesh suit. It's just a temporary status, not who you fundamentally are. And this is where that idea gets really beautiful. If your body is just a temporary vehicle, like a rental car or a hotel room, then death isn't some terrifying final stop. Nope, it's just checking out. Your stay is over and it's time to go back to your real home, this spirit world. Okay, so if we're basically ghosts in the machine, how does that even work? How does an immaterial thought, move your very material arm? Well, the answer lies in this incredible tech that makes the whole thing possible. Kardec breaks it down into this really cool three-part structure. On one side, you've got the spirit. That's the pure, immaterial you. On the other, you've got the dense material body. But the magic is what connects them, this fascinating middle layer. And it's called the perispirit. You can think of it as this semi-material, almost vaporous envelope that's the perfect translator between the two. It takes the will of the spirit and turns it into physical action. It's the cosmic glue holding this whole human experience together. But wait, it gets even cooler. The perispirit also does something else. Over in the spirit world, it's what gives a spirit its shape. And that shape usually looks a lot like the person's last body. So this actually gives us a really neat explanation for why ghosts and apparitions are so often described as looking like a specific person instead of just being, shapeless blobs. So what's it actually like when you check out of that hotel and arrive back home? Is it just, harps and clouds for everyone? Not exactly. According to Kardec, it's a complex, buzzing society with a very clear social ladder. And this is probably one of the biggest takeaways here. Death is not a magic personality makeover. It doesn't instantly make you a saint or a super genius. You show up in the spirit world as the exact same person you were the moment before you died. All your good stuff, all your flaws, all your little quirks, they all come with you. So this means the spirit world is this huge, vibrant place with a whole spectrum of beings. Way down on one end, you've got what are called imperfect spirits, who are still wrestling with things like pride and selfishness. And on the absolute other end of the scale, you have pure spirits, beings who've basically graduated. They're morally and intellectually perfected. And of course, there's every level you can imagine in between. Okay, this all raises a pretty big question, right? If our real home is the spirit world and it's this complex society, why on earth would we leave it? Why would we go through all the trouble of being born into a physical body? And the answer, according to Kardec, is that we have to. It's a requirement. This life, here on Earth, is a mission. It's an assignment that's custom designed for our own spiritual growth. It's a place where we are meant to be tested, to learn lessons, and to evolve through our experiences. I absolutely love this modern take on it from the Source. It's perfect. All the struggles, the challenges, the heartbreaks, they aren't random, meaningless punishments. They are the weights we're here to lift in our spiritual workout, all designed to make our spirits stronger and more refined. And here's the best part of this whole cosmic gym setup. Progress is built in. It's mandatory. You might have a tough life, feel like you're stalled, or keep learning the same lesson over and over, but you can never, ever truly go backward. Every single experience, good or bad, ultimately pushes you up the ladder. All right, so if we're down here doing our spiritual CrossFit, and they're up there, is that it? Is there any connection? Well, according to this manual, not only is there contact, it's happening constantly. It's a two-way street. Yeah, forget about some big, heavy, soundproof wall between our world and theirs. The book describes it as being more like a lace curtain. You can see shapes through it, and sounds and breezes pass right through. There's a constant, subtle flow of influence back and forth. So how does that interaction work? It all boils down to one simple, powerful rule. Like attracts like. Spirits can influence us, not by taking over, but by giving us these little nudges, these subtle vibes or thoughts. So if your mind is focused on growth, on being a better person, you naturally attract the influence of higher level spirits. But if you're looking for trouble or dwelling in negativity, well, you attract a spiritual crowd that matches that exact vibe. So let's just boil this whole user manual down, shall we? If we put it all in a nutshell, it looks something like this. Life is basically a classroom for the spirit. Our body? That's just the temporary uniform we have to wear. Death isn't the end. It's just the school bell ringing at the end of the day. And all of us, no matter what, are on a one-way escalator, always moving up. And that really brings this entire framework home, right back to you and me. It leaves us with one final, very personal question to chew on. If this life really is a classroom, and you look at everything you're going through, the good, the bad, the challenges, what specific lesson do you think you signed up to learn this time around?